Hello, good afternoon. How are you today? I hope you're well. Today I thought I would just come on and do a small video about a group of hormones that are very important to our well-being and our happiness. So these 4 hormones are called dopamine, serotonin, endorphins and oxytocin. And you've probably heard of them intermittently throughout your life. They are very important, and it's amazing how they interlinked with each other. So if I talk about the first one, the dopamine is part of our reward centre, and that hormone, when we get a dose of dopamine, that makes us more motivated to go after that thing that gives us pleasure. So if we put it down to basics, so it's part of our survival, it's hardwired into our brain. So we don't know how to do things. We usually learn through experience or from our caregivers. But back primitively, we have to seek out things to keep us alive, and our body, our brain is geared up to do this for us, and we learn very quickly. So I come across, I'm hungry, I get these hunger pangs or this feeling that I need to go and find something to eat. I eat it and my brain rewards me by giving me dopamine, and this makes me understand that I've fulfilled this need, I need to go and do it again. And you will notice this even the pleasure that shopping gives. So we buy something and we feel great, and then that feeling is short-lived, and then we need to go and buy something again. We get that reward. Or it can be like eating something really, really tasty, like say there's a nice cake there, I'm going to eat a bite, and I get this dopamine hit and I want more. I want more of this. Same as like alcohol, drugs, sex, porn, gambling, social media. You can see how we're getting all these wee hits or big hits of dopamine, but they're short-lived, so we're seeking this behaviour again and again and again. And that's why addiction can happen because of this. It's short-lived. So if you think of dopamine as our motivator, and it can be really good for things like if we're interested in something, if we're learning something, we want to achieve something, we're motivated to do this, and then we get this like dopamine hit that's like very rewarding to our system that makes us want to do it again. When we have our serotonin, this is our happy hormone. Serotonin isn't a seeker. Serotonin is happy and content. It doesn't want anything else. It's just happy being, with itself, the serotonin. So serotonin helps balance our moods. Then we have our endorphins. So our endorphins is our natural painkiller, and it helps us feel well within ourselves. Then we have like our oxytocin. So our oxytocin is known as our love hormone. It's our bonding hormone. It's present when we form new relationships, when there's trust, when we're falling in love, when we're having physical touch, from, yes, sexual touch, or it can be just like hugging your child or a friend or a parent. We are going to get this dose of oxytocin, even like touching an animal, stroking an animal, your pet. So these are very important, as you can see, for our mood, for our well-being. When these hormones are balanced, that is wonderful. Sorry, I can see my phone's just slightly tipping. There we go. So when these hormones are balanced, we feel well, we feel great within ourselves, relationships and connections are easy, but sometimes these hormones, they can be too low, they can even be too high. So if we look at, and I did write some things down just in case I forgot, what's interesting is, so even though these hormones are made within our brain, different parts of our brain, and secreted by different glands, if we look at the dopamine, about 50% of dopamine is made in your gut, your GI tract. The same as serotonin. So there's about 90% of serotonin that's it's made inside your gut. So that leaves like that 10% with the serotonin in the brain, and obviously that 50% of the dopamine. And you can see when we get stressed, that stress hormone, that's going to affect all these other feel-good hormones, which has an impact in our sleep, it has an impact in our motivation, it has an impact in our connections. So if we look at sort of our sleep, we need the hormones dopamine and serotonin to help build melatonin. So melatonin starts to come about when it's getting dark. You know, if we follow a natural rhythm, it starts to come about, we're starting to get sleepy, and then we fall asleep. And when these hormones are balanced, that indicates, you know, how long we sleep for, the quality of our sleep. But when these are out of balance, that's when we start not being able to sleep properly. Then that has a knock-on effect on all these other hormones. It has a knock-on effect on our foods, our cravings. We might be looking to get dopamine any way we can, so we might be reaching for that sugar, you know, or that glass of wine, or whatever. So that then has an impact on our blood sugar levels, which then it's an impact in our gut microbiome. We end up having a lot of like bad bacteria, and we want to produce more good bacteria. And ways that we can do this is by having fermented foods in our diet, having apple cider vinegar in our diet, fasting. Intermittent fasting is absolutely amazing to help regulate our blood sugar levels, not to mention, you know, it's a good fat burner. But when our stuttering here, so when our blood sugar levels are balanced, we're not going to be having the same cravings for different types of food, especially sugar. When we go for sugar, we're gonna like come up really high and then we come crashing down, so that can affect our mood again, it can affect our energy levels. So this is going to have then an impact on your oxytocin levels, your endorphins, the dopamine, the serotonin. So it gets really tricky. But the amazing thing is that we can do things to help ourselves, and you're already probably doing them, or there's things that you could be doing more of. So when we're wanting to build our endorphins and our oxytocin, we are wanting to spend time with meaningful connections. We are, you know, wanting to be connected to people that we like being around with, who we like being around with. We're wanting to make sure that we're getting physical touch. We're wanting to make sure, camera's a wee bit funny again. We're wanting to make sure that we get like cuddles, acts of kindness, gratitude. They all help us to feel good. They're going to give us this dose of endorphins. When we're helpful to people, and when people are kind to to us or give us a compliment that's going to make us feel good. But we don't want to become reliant on others to make us feel good. So there's things that we can do ourselves, and that is spending time in nature, getting out in nature, getting grounded, doing something that you love. So even like drawing a picture, painting a picture, it could be writing a story, it could be writing in your diary, it could just be any type of hobby you like, making jewellery, exercise as well. So getting out for a walk or climbing mountains. You know, I love being out in the mountains. There's hill walking, yoga, meditation as well. That's going to really help give you a boost of endorphins, serotonin, dopamine. It's science, you know. We don't need science to tell us this because we just need to do it ourselves and we feel it. But lots of people like a bit of science to validate and to validate. So science can show how this does have an impact on us. So other foods that you can get, I wanted to just explain it. It is a type of amino acid. So I did write it down that we're looking to get. So this is for our, let me see, consume foods high in tyrosine. So that's an amino acid, and that amino acid could be found in almonds, bananas, avocados, eggs, beans, fish, chicken and dark chocolate. And these foods increase dopamine levels naturally. So, and if we look at like even serotonin foods, they're kind of similar. It is getting a lot of like your natural whole grains, fresh fruits, vegetables, good fats like olive oil, avocado oil, there's sesame oil, but staying away or limiting your high saturated fats. Dairy is another good thing to have. Full fat dairy, if you can. And I know this isn't easy, but farm milk, because that's not been adulterated. It has a higher fat content. It's got all the goodness in it compared to the milk that you get in a supermarket that's been homogenized and, you know, stripped of goodness. I think, and talking to the farmer, the local farmer, who it's like a natural raw milk, and you can really taste the difference. So making sure that you're getting vegetables as well. And if you feel that you'll start to notice symptoms when your serotonin or your dopamine levels are getting low, because you might not feel motivated, you might feel tired, you might be feeling that you don't want to connect, you know, you're starting to go within yourself. And when that happens, that puts us into a cycle. And the best way to combat that is to get out in nature, phone a good friend, making sure that you're sleeping, making sure that you're eating well, resting, and exercise as well. These are all going to help. But in life, things happen all the time. You know, life's full of stressors, and it's just quite amazing when we don't feel great. Actually, there's, you know, that's impacting us biologically, chemically. We are a being, a whole, like if you look at us, mind, body, soul. So we do have a soul, I believe. We do have a mind and our body and our emotions, and they're all interconnected. So one is going to have a knock-on effect. And yes, we can do things, you know, to help our well-being, but talking to somebody that you trust is going to be so helpful as well. So reach out to somebody, you know, if you're not feeling so great, or if you want a friend to go on a walk with a friend, that you're going to get, you know, endorphins, you're going to get your oxytocin, you're going to get, you know, a lot of these dopamine, you're going to get these hits, and that's going to be really great for your well-being. So I just wanted to share that. On some other things as well, like listening to your favourite music, being careful with your stress levels, because especially at night, when stress levels get high, melatonin is shy. So you'll see that you might feel a bit tired, but you're in bed, and then you start going round and round with worries of maybe work or this, that and the other, and you can't sleep. So when that happens, you're best trying not to be on your phone before bed. You're best like not looking at emails or, you know, anything stressful at night, and create yourself a routine to go into bed. And if you find that your mind is starting to go into story, what I like to do, and it doesn't always work, it's hard, it takes time, but it's to bring it back to the breath. So and then the wee story might come back, and then you just you keep doing that, bringing it back to the breath, and eventually you can feel your mind start to calm, and it's only natural to have little things process. So yes, that's what I wanted to talk about. There is so much of it, and I did write some stuff down, and there's things that I forgot because the videos, it's just like a small video. And thank you for bearing with me when my camera's tipping. And next video I will do a sound bath for relaxation. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a little message, and if not, thank you for watching, and I will see you again. Take care, goodbye.